everybody. Welcome back to Leal Legacy's Radnarok. More specifically, our Badnarok companion podcast to the Disney animated watch-along podcasts we're doing under just our normal Radnarok banner. Is it getting confusing having this separation of the two? I don't think so. I think it's a fun play on words, and it gets the point across, right? And I'm even more excited landing on the idea of calling it a companion cast, right? Because it is. You do the watch-along of the movie, and then you come over to Badnarok to get all the information you didn't know you wanted to know. See? I'm smart. I'm smarter than you give me credit for. Yeah, I know you don't think very highly of me, but whatever. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm still going to do this. And apparently, if you're hearing this, you're still listening. So here we are. I'm going to clear my throat a lot, but this is Badnarok. Remember? I don't put as much effort into doing this as I do normal Radnaroks. So you get what you pay for. Technically, all of it's free, so I shouldn't do a good job with any of it. No, that's a horrible way to think. Fantasia, 1940. I don't know. Not super enamored by what went into Fantasia. I liked Fantasia. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. It was very, it was entertaining, to say the least. If nothing else, it was very entertaining. Really long. During that watch-along, if you will remember, if you've heard it, I had to use the restroom. That's how long it was. My tea went right through me. And yeah, just... It was a lot. Beautifully done, though. Beautifully done, though. Let's see. So, Fantasia from 1940, September 19th, 1940, to be precise. Looks like we got 10 director credits. Oh, boy. So... For those of you who have been keeping up with all this, I do my best, okay? I'm dyslexic. I do my best trying to read through the facts, but there's going to be a lot of stumbling over words and mispronunciations of names. And I say that incorrectly because never mind. I think it's funny, and that's all that matters. Let's see. James Alger was the director of the Sorcerer's Apprentice segment. Samuel Armstrong, his segments were, let's see, Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Is that how you pronounce that? Fugue? See, we've already started. In D minor. And the Nutcracker Suite. Then we got Ford Beebe Jr. Beebe. Is that how you say that? That's how I'm going to say it. His segment, or her segment, I don't know who Ford was. Let's look. Ford, it's not giving me a little pop-up, so I'm not really going to care. Let's see. Their segment was the Pastoral Symphony. Great. Norman Ferguson, their segment was Dance of the Hours. David Hand, Meet the Soundtrack. Jim Handley, the Pastoral Symphony. Tee-hee. I remember that name. Tee-hee. The letter T, period, H-E-E. Their name, they go by Tee-hee. It still makes me laugh. Every time, let's see, Tee-hee's segment was Dance of the Hours. Wait a minute. So a lot of these segments apparently had multiple directors. Wilfred Jackson, Night on Bald Mountain, and Ave Maria. Oh man, that Ave Maria one was just so lovely. Hamilton Luske was the Pastoral Symphony. Okay, another one on that. Bill Roberts and Paul Satterfield, both on The Rite of Spring. And then Ben Sharpstein was another one on Meet the Soundtrack. So, voila. Then we got a bunch of writing credits, but it's not really telling me. Okay, so Joe Grant and Dick Humer. Dick Humer is somebody we know very well from several other Disney animated features and in our Leal Legacy classic cartoon commentaries. Dick Humer pops up a lot. And I can't remember in what specifically. But go watch some of our classic cartoon commentaries on the Leal Legacy YouTube channel, and you'll see Dick Humer's name pop up there quite a bit. So, big name in classic animation. Okay, Lee Blair, story development, segment Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Is that how you say it? Fugue, F-U-G-U-E, Fugue? I'm going to say it. Elmer Plummer was the same thing, Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Oh, and another one, Phil Dyke was another one doing the Toccata. Sylvia Moberly Holland was, I'm just going to name all of them. So Sylvia Moberly Holland, Norman Wright, Albert Heath, Blanca Majorli. There's no R. Majoli. Majoli. That might be it. Maholi. That might be it. And then, let's see, Graham Heed. They were all story development for the Nutcracker Suite. Then we got Pierce and Carl Fallberg. Yeah, Fallberg. I'm reading. I think my eyes are going. Oh wait, I should probably just. There we go. Turn up the monitor screen brightness. That helped quite a bit, actually. Yeah. So Carl Fallberg and Pierce, both of them on Sorcerer's Apprentice. We got William Martin, Leo Thiel, Robert Sterner, and John McLeish. They were all story development and research for Rite of Spring. Otto Englander, Webb Smith, Erdman Penner, Joseph Sabo, Bill Pete, and Vernon Stallings were all story development for the Pastoral Symphony. Campbell Grant, Arthur, Heinemann, and Phil Dyke were all Night on Bald Mountain. And voila. Man, that was a lot of directors there, huh? And writers. Deems Taylor, self-narrative introductions. Leopold Stoykovsky. Stokowski, I think is actually what it is. Leopold Stokowski was the conductor of the Philadelphia Orchestra. The Philadelphia Orchestra played themselves. Corey Burton was the narrator for Deems Taylor overdubs in the 2000 restoration. Oh, I don't really care about that. Walt Disney as Mickey Mouse. Segment, Sorcerer's Apprentice. Voice, uncredited. I don't actually believe Mickey spoke during the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Oh, wait. I guess if you're counting after the actual, like, music and short, when Mickey ran up to the conductor, Stoyowski, and said thank you. I guess that was Walt Disney, but I don't know. I guess you would consider that part of Sorcerer's Apprentice rather than being its own standalone thing. I don't know. Okay, James Mcdonald was a percussionist. There was another narrator, Hugh Douglas, in 1982, and then a third narrator in 1985, Tim Matheson. Julieta Novis, soloist, segment Ave Maria. And then Paul J. Smith, violinist, uncredited. So I guess they had like their own independent portions of it all, huh? I guess so. And then Walt Disney and Ben Sharpstein, producers. Riveting stuff, right? Riveting stuff. All right. Fantasia is a 1940 American anthology animated film produced by Walt Disney Productions and released by RKO Radio Pictures. Heyo. They've released pretty much everything so far. With story direction by Joe Grant and Dick Humer, and production supervision by Walt Disney and Ben Sharpstein. Fantasia was the third Disney animated feature film. It consists of 8 animated segments. Wow, it was only 8. Set to pieces of classical music conducted by Leopold Stoyowski. I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to get that right. And I'm clearing my throat a lot because I'm drinking coffee. And it's Radnarok. So, whatever. I try not to clear my throat a whole bunch during the movies, but this is a thing all its own. Okay, let's see. 7 of the 8 shorts are performed by the Philadelphia Orchestra. Music critic and composer Deems Taylor acts as the film's master of ceremonies, who introduces each segment in live action. Thanks, Deems. Let's see. Disney settled on the film's concept in 1938 as work neared completion on The Sorcerer's Apprentice, originally an elaborate Silly Symphonies cartoon. I love Silly Symphony. And it's a Silly Symphony, an elaborate Silly Symphony cartoon. I always say Silly Symphonies. Don't know why. I always pluralize it. So, Sorcerer's Apprentice was intended for Silly Symphony. I found that to be just fascinating, honestly. It was designed as a comeback role for Mickey Mouse, who had declined in popularity as over time, I guess, from that would be like 11 years-ish of Mickey Mouse. So Mickey Mouse declined in popularity in like over 11 years from his debut to his comeback in Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's interesting. I wonder why, honestly. Okay, Mickey Mouse, who had declined in popularity. Okay, as production costs surpassed what the short could earn, Disney decided to include it in a feature-length film of multi-segments set to classical pieces with, oh my goodness, Stoyowski and Taylor as collaborators. The soundtrack was recorded using multiple audio channels and reproduced with Fantasia Sound. Fanta Sound. I've said Fantasia Sound. It's Fanta Sound. What is Fanta Sound? If I keep going. Fanta Sound, a pioneering sound system developed by Disney, and RCA that made Fantasia the first commercial film shown in stereo and a precursor to surround sound. Wow. Can you imagine that? Like going to the theater and hearing stereo sound for the first time, and it's like super elaborate animation to just some of the most beautiful classical music you've ever did heard. I've been living in Nashville too long. That's not true. I love it here. Let's see. Where do we leave off? A precursor to surround sound. Okay. Fantasia was first released as a Fantasia was first released as a I can't say theatrical. I can't say it. Okay? Don't stop. Just leave me alone. I'm going to try one more time. Fantasia was first released as a theatrical roadshow. That's it. I'm done, guys. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish with this breakdown. I just wanted to say the word theatrical correctly, and I did. So thanks for listening. You can find more from Leal. And yeah, I'm just joking. I'm in a mood today. Is it obvious? No? Yeah, maybe. Anyhow, I'll try to focus more, okay? All right, let's see. Theatrical Roadshow. Okay. Fantasia was first released as a theatrical roadshow held in 13 cities across the U.S. between 1940 and 1941. That's interesting. The first began at the Broadway Theater in New York City on November 13th, 1940. While acclaimed by critics, it failed to make a profit due to World War II. Nuts. World War II getting in the way. Cutting off distribution to the European market. The film's high production costs and the expense of building Fanta Sound equipment and leasing theaters for the roadshow presentations. I didn't read any of that. I read it right, but not in like a cadence or flow that made any sense. It sounded like I was going to keep going. Anyhow, let's see. Let us see. Let me get back to that. Okay, so it was the film's high production costs and the expense. Okay. Now I'm getting it. So critics loved it, but it failed to make a profit due to World War II cutting off its distribution to Europe, and then the high production costs in general, and the expense of building the groundbreaking Fanta Sound equipment and leasing theaters for the roadshow presentations. So there was a lot of money that went into Fantasia, but it was really hard to get it all back. And the way this is worded, the Fanta Sound equipment, it sounds like they had to take that on the roadshow because theaters weren't already equipped with that since it was such a new thing. So they had to take this Fanta Sound equipment to these theaters they were leasing out, and now I get it. Now I get why it was a roadshow more than just kind of like a wide release. Because theaters just simply weren't, equipped with the Fanta Sound. Okay, so since 1942, the film has been reissued multiple times with its original footage and audio being deleted. What? Modified or restored in each version. That's interesting. When adjusted for inflation, Fantasia is the 24th highest grossing film of all time in the United States. Wow. So even with all that trouble making money back, it's still the 24th highest grossing film. So look at that. And a lot of these re-releases and reissues and stuff like that, the original footage and audio being deleted, modified, or restored in each version. I wonder what was modified and deleted. And I wonder which version we saw. I watched it on Disney Plus, so I'd imagine it's the truest version to the original form, right? I would imagine. No? I'm going to pretend it is. Let's see. The Fantasia franchise has grown to include video games, Disneyland attractions, and live concert series. A sequel, which we'll inevitably end up watching, Fantasia 2000, co-produced by Walt's nephew, Roy E. Disney, was released in 1999. I remember that. And I don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest with you. Yeah, so it may very well be a first when we do the watch along for that. Fantasia has grown in reputation over the years and is now widely acclaimed. In 1999, the American Film Institute ranked it as the 58th greatest American film in their 100 Years, 100 Movies, and the 5th greatest animated film in their 10 top 10 list. Why is it worded like that? So in the American Film Institute, this is the 58th greatest American film and the 5th greatest animated film. That's pretty cool. In 1990, Fantasia was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. I would agree to each of those points. It's significant in all those ways, and many more. I hit the microphone. Did you hear that? It sounded like a... I don't know how to describe that sound. What else now? Program, do we care? Maybe. Let's skim through this. This is, yeah, okay, so this gives a breakdown to what each segment, each of the 8 segments looked like. So Toccata and, Fugue? Come on, Fugue? I don't know. In D minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. That was comprised of live action shots of the orchestra illuminated in blue and gold, backed by superimposed shadows, fade into abstract patterns, animated lines, shapes, and cloud formations reflected... Cloud formations reflect the sound and rhythms of the music. So that was like that whole introduction piece where he's like, when people hear music, they first see a color and then it evolves into shapes or designs or blah, blah, blah. That was pretty fun. That was fun to watch. Okay, so no, not gonna read that guy's name. Piotr? Is that how you say it? So the Nutcracker Suite by Piotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky. I don't know. That's what you get for having a Russian name, my friend. Thanks for the Nutcracker Suite, but that name. Okay. So for the Nutcracker Suite, selections from the ballet suite underscore scenes depicting the changing of seasons from summer to autumn to winter. A variety of dances are presented with fairies, fish, flowers, mushrooms, and leaves, including Dance with the Sugar Plum Fairy, Chinese dance, Arabian dance, Russian dance, Dance of the Flutes, and Waltz of the Flowers. The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas, based on Goethes, Goethe, apostrophe S, 1797 poem, Der Zauberlehrling, DER, new word, Zauberlehrling. So I gave it my best. You give it yours. In this, as we all know, Mickey Mouse, the young apprentice of the sorcerer Yensid, attempts some of his master's magic tricks, but does not know how to control them. It's a fun one. Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky. Ooh, I think I got that one. A visual history of the Earth's beginning is depicted to selected sections of the ballet score. The sequence progresses from the planet's formation to the first living creatures, followed by the reign and extinction of the dinosaurs. A segment I had forgotten about, but was really excited to watch when rediscovered. Then following that is an intermission. Then meet the soundtrack. The orchestra, musicians depart, and the Fantasia title card is revealed. That would have been a good time for me to use the restroom, but I don't think I did. After the intermission, there is a brief jam session of jazz music led by clarinetist, as the orchestra members return. Then a humorously stylized demonstration of how sound is rendered on film is shown. An animated soundtrack character, initially a straight white line, changes into different shapes and colors based on the sounds played. That was fun as well. The Pastoral Symphony by Ludwig van Beethoven, a mythical Greco-Roman world of colorful centaurs and centaurettes, cupids, fauns, and other figures from classical mythology is portrayed to Beethoven's music. A gathering for a festival to honor Bacchus, the god of wine, is interrupted by Zeus, who creates a storm and directs Vulcan to forge lightning bolts for him to throw at the attendees, which, when you break it down, that was pretty wild. Like, all these mythical creatures are hanging out, having a good time, and Zeus is just like, I've got a wild hair to just rain destruction down on all these innocent people. I did not recall that one from my youth as well, but man, does that paint Zeus in a interesting light, right? Maybe an accurate light. I don't know a whole lot about Roman mythology, but Greco-Roman, because I believe Zeus is technically Greek, right? And then Roman would be Jupiter. So ancient Greece and ancient Roman gods are the same, yet named differently. The Roman gods are named or our planets are named after the Roman gods, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that's right. Let's see. No, that was the Beethoven. Dance of the Hours by Amilcare, Poncelli. First name Amilcare. Last name Ponchielli. So you give me your best. This was a comic ballet in 4 sections. Madame Upanova and her ostriches mourning. That is her name, Madame Upanova, 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 Madame Upanova, and her ostriches. I didn't know that ostrich lady had a name. So that was mourning. Wow. Hyacinth Hippo, Hyacinth Hippo. Did not know she had a name. And her servants are Afternoon. And why do you give these characters such crazy names? Elephant Sheen. Elephantine, and her bubble blowing elephant troupe really gave me some Pink Elephant vibes, which we saw in the following film, Dumbo. Lost my place. And her elephant troupe, that was Evening. And then Ben Ali Gator. Thank you for giving me something. Ben Ali Gator and his troupe of alligators were The Night. Then the finale finds all the characters dancing together until their palace collapses. What fun. And then, probably the most metal thing Disney's ever produced. Nights on Bald Mountain. And it is Bald. Am I saying that right? Bald? Night on Bald Mountain. By Modest Masorgisi? Dyslexic. Okay? If you have a dyslexic child, let them listen to me trying to read out loud. It's going to make them feel better. I promise. So, Modest, right? First name. And then last name, Mussorgsky. I mean, come on. And then Ave Maria by Franz Schubert. That was good. That wasn't bad. Okay, so at midnight, the devil Chernabog. Let's look at that. That's something I can look and hover over. Okay. That it's a Disney created. Okay, so the big winged guy, Chernabog. I'm gonna call him Chernabog. At midnight, the devil Chernabog awaits and summons evil. Did I say awaits or awakes? Chernabog awakes and summons evil spirits and restless souls from their graves to Bald Mountain. So metal. The spirits dance and fly through the air until driven back by the sound of an Angelus bell? What's an Angelus bell? Angelus. The Angelus is the... Wait, hold on. The Angelus is a Catholic devotion ceremony. Oh, wait, no, not ceremony. Man, I am just... I think I need to get my eyes checked. I think this is going beyond my dyslexia and going into, like, my vision is kind of sucking. Hold on, because I grew up Catholic, so I should know things about this. The Angelus is a Catholic devotion commemorating the incarnation. Okay. As with many Catholic prayers, the name Angelus is derived from its incipit. The first few words and text, Angelus Domini Novanit Marie. Don't speak Latin. The devotion is practiced by reciting a biblical verse. Okay, I don't want to get super deep into like Catholicism when I'm trying to just focus on Fantasia, but heavily Catholic driven, okay? So when Chernabog hears that, as night fades into dawn, a chorus is heard singing Ave Maria, beautiful, as a line of robed monks, is that what they were? Is depicted walking with lighted torches through a forest and into the ruins of a cathedral. I'm not sure that I put that together at that part. Makes sense, but visually, I'm not sure I knew that they were monks. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm just not remembering this as well as I should be, huh? Okay. Development. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. In 1936, Walt Disney felt that the Disney Studios star character Mickey Mouse needed a boost in popularity. He decided to feature the mouse in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, a deluxe cartoon short based on the 1797 poem written by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Goethe, and set to the 1897 orchestral piece by Paul Dukas, Paul Dukas, Dukas. I think I got it right earlier. That which inspired the original tale. Cool, man. Disney was a cultured man. The concept of matching animation to classical music was used as early as 1928 in Disney cartoons, or in the Disney cartoon series, The Silly Symphonies. There's The Silly Symphonies. See, I'm not just saying Silly Symphonies unprovoked. Like, I know I've heard it. If you haven't watched a lot of Silly Symphony cartoons, like, you're missing out. I'm sure, I can almost promise you they have a solid majority of those on Disney Plus. And again, not an ad for Disney Plus, but as a diehard Disney fanboy, like, it does not. And Marvel fanboy and Star Wars fanboy, come on. It doesn't get better than Disney Plus, I'm telling you. Let's see, Silly Symphonies. But he wanted to go beyond the usual slapstick and produce shorts where sheer fantasy unfolds. Action controlled by a musical pattern has great charm in the realm of unreality. Wow. Was that a quote? I think it was a quote. So let's read that quote again, okay? Sheer fantasy unfolds. Action controlled by a musical pattern has great charm in the realm of unreality. It doesn't sound as eloquent coming out of me, but I like it. I like the message. Let's see. Upon receiving the rights to use the music by the end of July 1937, Disney considered using a well-known conductor to record the music for added prestige. He happened to meet Leopold Stoyowski, conductor of the Philadelphia Orchestra since 1912, at Chassen's restaurant in Hollywood. And they talked about his plan for the short. Man, I'm not a good reader out loud. Okay, so Stoyowski recalled that he did, quote, like the music, unquote, was happy to collaborate on the project and offered to conduct the piece at no cost. Wow. Did they still pay him? Or did they catch a break on the budget without having to pay Leopold, huh? Let's see. Following their meeting, Disney's New York representative ran into Stoyowski on a train headed for the East Coast. In writing to Disney, he reported that Stoyowski was really serious in his offer to do the music for nothing. he had some very interesting ideas on instrumental coloring, which would be perfect for an animation medium. Interesting. In his excited response dated October 26th, 1937, Disney wrote that he felt all steamed up over the idea of Stoyowski working with us. The union of Stoyowski's music... The union of Stoyowski and his music, together with the best of our medium, I guess animation, would be the means of a success that should lead to a new style of motion picture presentation, which clearly did. He had already begun working on a story outline and wished to use the finest men from color down to animators. So I guess like the finest, finest folks working in color animation. Down to animators on the short. I always stop reading before the end of the sentence. The Sorcerer's Apprentice was to be promoted as a quote-unquote special and rented to theaters as a unique film outside of the Mickey Mouse cartoon series. An agreement signed by Disney and Stoyowski on December 16th, 1937 allowed the conductor to select an empty... Oh, no, wait. I'm so bad at this today. Allow the conductor to select and employ a complete symphony orchestra for the recording. Stoyowski was paid $5,000 for his work instead of the nothing, he was aiming at. And then Disney hired a stage at the Culver Studio. Disney hired a stage. Shouldn't it say rent a stage, not hired? I guess either works, but rent would make more sense in my mind. Disney hired a stage at the Culver Studios in California for the session. It began at midnight on January 9th, 1938, and lasted for 3 hours using 85 Hollywood musicians. Crazy. So that was just for Sorcerer's Apprentice. So that wasn't even for the, Fantasia overall. Let's see. As production costs of The Sorcerer's Apprentice climbed to $125,000, it became clear to Disney and his brother Roy, who managed the studio's finances, that the short could never earn such a sum back on its own. Roy wanted his brother to keep any additional cost on the film to a minimum. He said, because of its very experimental and unprecedented nature, we have no idea what can be expected from such a production. Ben Sharpstein, a production supervisor on Fantasia, noted that its budget was 3 to 4 times greater than the usual silly symphony, but Disney, and then quotes, saw this trouble in the form of an opportunity. That's just the Disney way, man. He sees adversity as an opportunity to overcome and innovate. Let's see. This was the birth of a new concept, a group of separate numbers, regardless of their runtime, put together in a single presentation. It turned out to be a concert, something novel and of high quality. I like it. Let's see. Ideas to produce a complete feature film were pursued in February 1938, when inquiries were made to extend Stoyowski's contract. In August, Disney asked Stoyowski's representative to have him return to the studio to select material for the new film, which was initially titled the concert feature. Fantasia is a much, much better name than the concert feature. Disney agreed to pay Stoyalski $80,000 plus royalties for his services. Ooh. Well, I mean, again, from the nothing to 5,000 to 80,000. The pair further thought of presenting the film with an on-screen host to introduce each number in the program. And we got that. Both had heard composer and musician, music. Man, I am just not giving it Radnarok. I'm telling you, Radnarok. I'm giving it my all, but my all is just not coming through the way it should. Let's see. Both had heard composer and music critic Deems Taylor provide intermission commentary during radio broadcasts of the New York Philharmonic and agreed he would be most suitable for the role. See, running your mouth gets you opportunity sometime. I'm just waiting for mine. Disney did contact Taylor about the project, but they then hold on. Disney did contact Taylor about the project, but by then work on Pinocchio, Bambi, and development on his new Burbank studio kept him too busy to work on the new feature. So Pinocchio and Bambi got in the way of Fantasia's progress, which ironically, Bambi came out 2 movies after Fantasia, though it was being planned prior to Fantasia. Interesting. Let's see. In the future, okay. In a change of plans, Taylor was asked during a call on September 3rd, 1938, leave to come. See, I think they're missing a word there. So it's not all me. Leave to come to the studio as soon as possible. Okay. Yeah, see, they should have put to leave to the studio as soon as possible. He left New York City for Los Angeles by train 2 days later for a month's visit. How long did it take a train to get from New York to L.A.? And he stayed in L.A. for a month. Good on you, Deems Taylor. All right, let's see. Segments. Over 1,000 artists and technicians were used in the making of Fantasia. Woo! Which features more than 500 animated characters. Segments were color-keyed scenes by... Oh, no, they were color-keyed scene by scene, so the colors in a single shot would harmonize between preceding and following ones. Man, that sounds complicated. Before a segment's narrative pattern was complete, an overall color scheme was designed to the general mood of the music and patterned to correspond with the development of the subject matter. Nutty. So they listened to the music and chose a color palette that went with the music itself and then built a story on top of that, fitting whatever colors were depicted from the music. Nutty. Let's see. The studio's character model department would also sculpt 3-dimensional clay models so the animators could view their subject from all angles. That's neat. I wonder if those still exist somewhere. Live action scenes were filmed using the 3-strip Technicolor process, while the animated segments were shot in successive yellow, cyan, and magenta exposed frames. The different pieces of the film were then spliced together to form a complete print. Wow. A multi-plane camera that could handle 7 levels, 3 more than the old multi-camera was built. So they built a new camera, a multi-plane camera that could handle 7 levels, opposed to the 4 the old multiplane cameras could do. That's wild, right? I think so. And there are breakdowns for each segment, but I kind of feel like we've done quite a bit of that already, no? Let's see. I never look into this beforehand. All right, let's see. Disney had been, Toccata and Fugue in D minor. Disney had been interested in producing abstract animation since he saw a color box by Len Lee, L-Y-E, that's the last name, from 1935. He explained the work done in the Toccata and Fugue was, in quotes, no sudden idea. They were something we had nursed along several years, but never had the chance to try it. Preliminary designs included those from effects animator Cy Young, who produced drawings influenced by the patterns on the edge of a piece of sound film. What? In late 1938, Disney hired Oscar Fissinger, a German artist who had produced numerous abstract animated films, including some with classic music, to work with Young. Upon review, the three Leica reels, Leica, what are those? In film, specifically animation, a Leica reel is a type of storyboarding device used in production of potential series or features. Okay. Unlike actual storyboard or pitches, Leica reels are used later in the development process, usually after voice actors have been hired to record. Okay. By the two, and then so upon review of the Leica reels produced by the two artists Disney hired, Disney rejected all three. According to Dick Humor, all Fissinger did was little triangles and designs. It didn't come off at all. Too dinky, Walt said. Fissinger, like Disney, was used to having full control over his work and was not used to working in a group. Feeling his designs were too abstract for a mass audience, Fissinger left the studio in apparent despair before the segment was completed in October 1939. Disney had plans to make the Toccata and Fugue and an experimental three-dimensional film. Man, this Disney guy is always like way outside the box. Three-dimensional film with audiences being given cardboard stereophonic frames with their souvenir programs, but this idea was abandoned. I mean, it was already super expensive, man. Like, that was just going to add more to the overall cost, if anything. Let's see. The Nutcracker Suite. In the Nutcracker Suite, animated by Art Babbitt said to have credited the Three Stooges, as a guide for animating the dancing mushrooms in the Chinese dance routine. No way would I have ever thought of that. He drew with a music score pinned to his desk out of He drew with a music score pinned to his disc to work out the choreography so he could relate the action to the melody and the counterpoint, those nasty little notes underneath. So something has to be related to that. The studio filmed professional dancers Joyce Coles and Majori Belcher, wearing ballet skirts and resembled shapes of blossoms that were to sit above water for Dance of the Flutes. An Arabian dancer was also brought in to study the movements for the goldfish in Arab dance. Jules Engel also worked on the choreography and color king for this sequence. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Animation on The Sorcerer's Apprentice began on January 21st, 1938, with James Alger, the director of the segment, assigned to animator Preston Blair to work on the scenes with Mickey Mouse wakes from his dream. Each of the 700 members of staff at the time received a synopsis of Goethe's 1797 poem, Der Zauberer in Ferling. It's that one I couldn't say earlier. Zaubererling. And were encouraged to complete a 20-question form that requested their ideas on what action might take place. Layout artist Tim Kodrick created what Dick Humer described as brilliantly colored thumbnails from preliminary storyboard sketches using gouache paintings, which featured bolder use of color and lighting than any previous Disney short. Mickey was redesigned by animator Fred Moore, who adapted pupils to his eyes instead of like little pie slice eyes, which I prefer ultimately. For the first time to achieve greater ranges of expression. So Fantasia apparently is the first time we see a Mickey Mouse with pupils. Most of the segment was shot in live action, including the scene where a UCLA athlete was asked to run and jump across the studio's soundstage with barrels in the way, which was used to reference when Mickey traverses through the water. Pretty fascinating. I'm into it. Let's see. Rite of Spring. An early concept for Rite of Spring was extended. An early concept of Rite of Spring was to extend the story to the age of mammals, and the first humans, and the discovery of fire and man's triumph. Interesting. So it was supposed to go beyond the extinction of the dinosaurs, huh? John Hubley, the segment's art director, explained that it was later curtailed by Disney to avoid controversy from creationists. Always the creationists getting in the way. Who promised to make trouble should he connect evolution to humans. So even back, I guess especially back then, creationists were like, nope. Man did not evolve from dinosaurs. Or let's not play with evolution. It didn't evolve from dinosaurs, but humanity definitely does play in the evolutionary scale with dinosaurs preceding humans. But whatever. Let's see. To gain a better understanding of the history of the planet, the studio received guidance from Roy Chapman Andrews, the director of the American Museum of Natural History, English biologist Julian Huxley, paleontologist Barham Brown, and astronomer Edwin Hubble. Come on, can everybody have awesome, easy to pronounce names as these folks? Animators studied comets and nebulae at the Mount Wilson Observatory and observed a herd of iguanas and a baby alligator that were brought into the studio. Interesting. The viewpoint was to keep low throughout the segment and to heighten the immensity of the dinosaurs. Oh, okay. So the viewpoint was kept low throughout the segment to heighten the immensity of dinosaurs. So keep it low to make things look bigger. I mean, that's pretty standard, right? The Pastoral Symphony, according to Ward Kimball, the animators were extremely specific on touchy issues. In the making of the Pastoral Symphony, Greek mythological blah, 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 blah. In the making of the Pastoral Symphony, Greek mythological segment, the female centaurs were originally drawn bare-breasted. But the Hayes office enforcing the motion picture production code insisted that they discreetly hung garland around the necks. Bunch of prudes, right? The male centaurs were also toned down to appear less intimidating to the audience. Originally, black female centaurs braided Pickaninny hair, shining the hooves and grooming the tails of white centaurs. Oh, wow. That's an idea that was that should have been abandoned, and I'm glad it was. Appeared in the film, but this was cut out years later for racial prejudicial reasons. Yeah, obviously. That was cut out later, so we're not seeing the original. I wonder if that had to have been released in the original distribution of Fantasia, because it said it was cut out years later, so they're not showing the original on Disney Plus or in any other release, I imagine. Which, I mean, come on, with good reason. That's what a garbagey thing to do. Like, even in a mythological world, they're still trying to, depict racial injustice. So glad that was cut out. Let's see. Dance of the Hours was directed by Norman Ferguson and Thornton Hee. Oh, Tee-Hee? Oh, so Tee-Hee is full name is Thornton Hee. I still really like Tee-Hee though. Thornton Hee was completed by 11 animators. I held in a burp right there. Sorry. Most of the story was outlined in a meeting in October 1938, including the creation of the main alligator character, Ben Alligator. Oh, I didn't catch that earlier. Ben Alligator. Its story, direction, layout, and animation underwent several rewrites, yet Disney wanted to present animals performing a legitimate caricature ballet sequence with comedic spills. Oh, I thought that was going to continue with comedic spills. Ugh, I am such a bad reader out loud. The design of the elephants and alligators were based on those by German illustrator Henrik Klee, while the hippos and ostriches were based on those by cartoonist T.S. Sullivan. To gain a better idea on the animals' movements, the crew visited Griffith Park Zoo in Los Angeles. Animator John Hench was assigned to work on the segment, but resisted as he knew little about ballet. Disney then gave Hench season tickets to the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo, with backstage access so he can learn about it more. Wow, he's like, I don't want to do it. I don't know anything about ballet. I don't know anything about ballet. And then Disney's like, well, you know what? Here's some season passes with backstage. Enjoy. And I wonder if he was more like, or if he got stoked about it. Who knows? All right. And then lastly, Night on Bald Mountain and Ave Maria. Night on Bald Mountain was directed by Wilfred Jackson. Its story closely follows the depictions that Mussorgsky, Mussorgsky had written on his original score of the tone poem. Okay. Chernabog was animated by Vladimir Tytla, Tytla. His design inspired from a pencil sketch by Swiss artist Albert Hunter of a demon sitting atop a mountain unfolding its wings. Metal. Despite Hunter never producing animation for Disney, the studio temporarily hired him to produce pencil sketches for the animators to gain inspiration from. Chernabog and parts of the segment were developed further by Danish-born illustrator K. Nielsen. Tytla conducted research on all characters he had animated and being Ukrainian was familiar with the folklore that the story detailed. Okay. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Actor Bela Lugosi, best known for his role in Dracula in 1931, was brought in to provide reference poses for Chernabog. That is fascinating. But Tytla disliked the results. That is disappointing. He then got Jackson to pose shirtless, which gave him the images he needed. At one point in its development, the idea of using black cats to represent evil was considered, but Disney rejected it as he thought cats had always been used. I guess so. Cats have always been kind of like black cats have always been associated with darkness and such, so it would just kind of be more of the same, right? I think it's rad that they brought in Bela Lugosi, even though they didn't use the reference material that was developed off him. The fact that they brought in Dracula, and I mean, if you know anything about me, I'm a giant Universal movie monster fan. So having Bela Lugosi as any part of this is just so fun and fascinating to me. Let's see. The film's program reads that Ave Maria provides an emotional relief to the audience's tense from the shock. So they thought the audience was super tense from watching Chernabog summon and raise the dead. So Ave Maria was supposed to be an emotional release or relief to Night on Bald Mountain. Interesting. Disney did not want much animated movement, but wanted the segment to bring the background artwork to the forefront. An early story outline had the segment end with a Madonna presenting on the screen with the clouds. With the clouds. So he wanted basically the Virgin Mary to be presented on the screen. I mean, Ave Maria, that makes sense, right? But then Disney decided against this as he did not want to suggest overly religious imagery, which I respect. There were ideas of releasing scents throughout the theater during Fantasia, including the smell of incense during Ave Maria. That would have been fascinating too. if they were able to pump in different smells into the theater to correspond with what you're seeing. I mean, that's basically what those 4D movie experiences, but back in 1940. That's insanely fascinating to me. Let's see. The lyrics to Ave Maria were sung by Julieta Novis. On the sleeve notes of the LP version of the soundtrack, Disney acknowledged the original words as written by Sir Walter Scott, but said that it had been decided to use words specifically written for Fantasia by the distinguished American author Rachel Field. Woo! Man, like, I feel my voice kind of cracking out, but I feel like we went pretty much through all the most interesting parts of Fantasia. Much like the film itself, there is just like endless amounts of information. I don't know what that means. Like the film itself, there's endless amounts of information. Just because the film itself was so long, right? It was so long and it just kept going. So this podcast could really just keep going. But, let's see. There's a goof, apparently. In the full-length introduction to the Nutcracker Suite, heard only in the Roadshow version of Fantasia, Deems Taylor states that this music is from a longer ballet called The Nutcracker, and nobody performs it nowadays. The full-length Nutcracker had not been performed in the U.S. yet in 1940. But in both Russia and England, it had been staged in 1934 and had already been staged in Russia twice before that, in 1892 and 1919. However, although the Nutcracker Suite was immediately popular even in the 1940s, the full-length ballet was still a long way from becoming an annual phenomenon that it is now in the United States. Wow. All right. I thought that was going to be more interesting, but it kind of wasn't. Sweet. So hopefully my horrific reading aloud and the way I pronounce certain names specifically and titles of these, like, did not turn you off. Oh, I just held in another burp. I'm so sorry. That is so rude. It'd be more rude if I actually let it go, but here we are, Radnarok. Not going to re-record. I've already stopped several times. I wonder if you caught that. But anyhow, I don't know. I liked it. Fantasia's fun. It's just a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot to it. To get a child to sit through the whole thing, I could already tell you Bane would definitely not sit through this whole thing. I mean, maybe he loves music. Bane is a fan of like film scores and stuff like that. So orchestral music he does love, but I'm wondering if he'd be able to sit through like the 2 hours of Fantasia. One day we'll do it, but I don't know, maybe I'll give it a shot. He's got a pretty wild attention span. It varies drastically day to day. But this isn't a breakdown on Bane. This was a breakdown on Fantasia. So I hope you dug it. I hope you got some information out of it. I didn't know what it was going to be like going into it because the other film breakdowns are just like breakdowns of the film itself, like the voice actors, the animation, stuff like that. But given that this had 8 different segments, all requiring 8 different methods of animation and scoring and all that kind of jazz, like I really just going into this did not anticipate just how detailed each of those segments were independently. But yeah, I was kind of wondering if I should keep calling these Radnarok, but yeah, after today's performance, I feel like it should, because I don't know, not my finest work, but hopefully you took away some tidbits that you found interesting. If you haven't watched or haven't listened and done the watch along, listened to and done the watch along to Fantasia, give it a go. We've got a number of other watch alongs already complete. I shouldn't really say how many because I kind of want all these to feel timeless, but if you're listening to this breakdown immediately when I release it, there are other movies to do watch alongs too. And even if you're listening to this in the future, maybe the whole catalog is already done. I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but hey, if you haven't done the watch along podcasts yet, go for it. I recommend it. I have the time of my life doing it. And after that, why not click around leallegacy.com and scope out all the other killer content we have for you, including our Skeleton Crew store. You can visit our skeleton. I held in another burp. I don't know why I'm so burpy right now. It's got to be the coffee. I don't know. Maybe. I'll figure it out. I won't be burpy on the watch along podcast. I promise that. I only get burpy on Radnarok. What was I saying? Skeleton Crew store. That's right. You can go and visit our store at leallegacy.com/shop or skeletoncrewbrand.com, and that's crew, CRUE, skeletoncrewbrand.com. You can find loads of just different pieces of, streetwear, skate, cult apparel, featuring designs digitally crafted by me. Lots of Disney inspired stuff. Basically all the designs are developed and inspired by my own personal fandoms. So if you feel like you and I share a lot of fandoms, then you'll love what I'm, kicking out with Skeleton Crew. Also, go scope out our YouTube. You can see all the same videos at leallegacy.com, but why not go subscribe to our YouTube channel, Leal Legacy. We have classic cartoon commentaries, which are kind of like the watch-alongs, but I'm able to provide the commentary directly on the cartoon itself and post that up, so you're not having to do like any kind of fancy syncing or anything like that. You can check out the vloggentaries. I've wanted to be a vlogger, but I'm not good at it, so I developed a new hybrid called Vloggentary, where I shoot footage that could be used for a vlog, but I provide commentary after the fact instead of trying to provide, commentary in the moment. So it's what I'm good at. I'm good at running my mouth and, talking over things. So check those out. Let's see. Classic cartoon commentaries, vloggentaries. Bainey and I do some time-lapse Lego builds for various Lego sets. There's a few of those up there. And then the boys and I, Bane and Elvis, we do video game streams online as well. Live streams. So watch my sons gang up on me and beat each other up in various video games. Yeah, pretty much that's the gist of it, right? Oh, and then on all your favorite social media platforms, at Leal Legacy. Did you hear that motorcycle go by? Obnoxious. Yeah, man, not my best work today. So it is what it is. But you know what? Don't let this turn you off. It gets better. There's other better podcasts that I've done. So if you don't mind subscribing, leaving a review, preferably a positive one, that really helps the exposure and the discoverability of the podcast for those who have not joined the crew yet. And as always, I appreciate you being a friend and telling your friends about this. Word of mouth, very important. So until next time, I believe next will be the Radnarok breakdown of Dumbo. That's going to be exciting, right? Yeah, so see you then. See you there. Enjoy. Thanks for listening. See ya.